12 points separate Lando Norris from Max Verstappen. Oscar Piastri, once the runaway leader, clings to a final hope. Just weeks ago, the title looked wrapped in McLaren orange until Verstappen clawed back a deficit of 100 points, and a single strategic gamble in Qatar blew the season wide open. All season, every turn, pit call and comeback pointed to one destination: a three-way showdown in Abu Dhabi. But how did what seemed inevitable become suddenly uncertain? Oscar Piastri arrived in Formula One with a reputation for calm under pressure, but few expected the kind of opening statement he delivered in 2025. In the first 5 races, Piastri climbed the podium every single time, 3 of them as the winner. Bahrain, Melbourne, Imola. Each weekend he seemed to find another gear, another layer of composure. His radio messages revealed a driver unbothered by chaos, unflustered by the spotlight. While rivals wrestled with new regulations and unpredictable tyre wear, Piastri managed his races with a quiet authority that belied his rookie status in the title fight. By the time the circus packed up after Miami, Piastri had already built a double-digit points lead. Each result added to the sense that McLaren had found not just a fast car, but a new benchmark for consistency at the sharp end. The early championship tables told their own story, Piastri out front, setting the pace for everyone else, including his own teammate. Paddock chatter shifted from curiosity to expectation. Could anyone catch him? Would nerves ever show? With each passing round, the gap to the chasing pack grew. The constructors' standings ballooned in McLaren's favour, but it was Piastri's name that dominated the headlines. In the garages and on the pit wall, the mood was buoyant. For a moment, the title picture seemed almost settled. Early in the season, it was Oscar Piastri who looked unstoppable, a new star leading the way into a year that felt like it belonged to McLaren. Lando Norris found his rhythm just as the summer races arrived. Back-to-back wins at Silverstone and Spa sent a clear message. The team's early focus on Piastri was about to be tested. McLaren's engineers, sensing the swing, began to funnel their remaining development tokens toward Norris's car. The upgrades landed at the perfect time: new floor, revised rear wing, subtle tweaks that shaved tenths off every lap. In those crucial weekends, Norris did not just close the gap to his teammate, he overtook him, both on the track and in the standings. Where Piastri had set the early pace, Norris now delivered relentless podiums, never lower than second across a 5-race stretch. Each Sunday, his confidence grew. Race engineers recalibrated strategies around him. The garage, once divided by quiet rivalry, started to tilt in Norris's favour. By Monza, it was clear, McLaren's title hopes would rest on car number 4, but with every success, the pressure mounted. Every strategic call, every pit stop, every late race decision now carried extra weight. The paddock began to whisper about McLaren's ability to handle a real championship fight. Norris, for the first time in his career, was not just the chaser, he was the hunted. And as the season pressed on, the margin for error grew thinner with each passing lap. Max Verstappen's season turned on numbers that once seemed impossible. After the Dutch Grand Prix, the championship table showed him buried more than 100 points behind the leader. In modern Formula One, that margin usually spells the end of a title run, but the math began to shift. Over the next 6 races, Verstappen clawed back 88 points, race by race, podium by podium. Each weekend, the Red Bull crew rolled out new tweaks, a revised floor in Monza, subtle changes to the underbody, and updates to the rear suspension. These were not headline-grabbing overhauls, but the effect was unmistakable. In Monza, Verstappen reported better balance and less tyre drop-off in the final laps. By Mexico, the car's ride height and floor geometry allowed him to push longer on the softest compounds, opening up new strategy windows. While Red Bull's engineers worked quietly in the background, Verstappen delivered on track. He finished no lower than second place across those 6 races, winning 3 races. The points gap shrank with every checkered flag. Rivals who had written off his chances began to recalculate. The numbers told a story of relentless pressure. McLaren's margin, once huge, was now under attack from a driver who refused to yield. Verstappen's comeback was not built on a single dramatic weekend. It was a steady, statistical surge, each result tightening the screw. Heading into the closing rounds, Red Bull was not just back in contention. They were the team with momentum, and Verstappen was the hunter with nothing to lose. McLaren's campaign delivered the numbers that matter. 800 points, the Constructors' Championship wrapped up with races to spare, and a car that could dominate any circuit on the calendar. 800 was the headline, and it sounded decisive. But inside the paddock, attention began to shift from the team's pace to what happened when the pressure dialed up on Sunday afternoons. As rivals sharpened their strategies, McLaren's pit wall found itself under a different kind of scrutiny. Race after race, the team's decisions grew more cautious, holding track position instead of gambling on fresh tyres, waiting for rivals to blink rather than forcing the issue themselves. The approach made sense for a team defending a lead, but it left little margin for error. Publicly, McLaren's leadership pointed to the Constructors' Trophy as proof their methods worked. Privately, some questioned whether the instinct to protect had started to override the instinct to attack. On key weekends, the team hesitated at moments when rivals rolled the dice. The pattern became hard to ignore, a safe call here, a missed opportunity there, each one adding a layer of doubt. In the garage, engineers and strategists debated every scenario, weighing risk against reward as the season's end drew closer. As the calendar ticked toward its final rounds, the tension inside McLaren was impossible to miss. The team's success had come from relentless execution, but now every decision felt like it was being made under a microscope. The sense of invincibility that defined their early months began to give way to something more fragile. With Red Bull closing in and Verstappen on a charge, McLaren's next big call would carry consequences far beyond a single race weekend. Lap 7 in Qatar brought a decision that would haunt McLaren's title hopes. As the safety car swept onto the circuit, radios crackled with urgency, and Red Bull called Verstappen in for tyres without hesitation. Nearly every rival followed. On the McLaren pit wall, a different calculation played out. Both Norris and Piastri were told to stay out, banking on track position rather than fresh rubber. The split was immediate. Verstappen and others rejoined with new tyres, while the McLarens led, but with older, more fragile sets. As the race restarted, the difference became clear. Verstappen's pace advantage grew with every lap, his grip holding, while the McLarens slipped into defensive mode. By the flag, Verstappen took the win, Piastri salvaged second, and Norris crossed the line behind them. His chance to end the title fight had gone in a single call. The fallout was instant. McLaren's drivers kept their answers measured, but the frustration was obvious. One gamble, one radio message, and the championship story was rewritten. 12 points separate Lando Norris from Max Verstappen as the lights prepare to go out in Abu Dhabi. Oscar Piastri sits just 4 points further back, every possibility still alive. Yas Marina's long straights and tight corners promise no easy calculations, especially with Pirelli's softest C5 compounds in play. The track's layout invites overtaking but punishes mistakes, forcing teams to weigh every decision. Most expect a one-stop race, but a poorly timed safety car could turn strategies upside down, just as it did in Qatar. For Norris, the task is to defend, to avoid disaster. Verstappen must attack, knowing only victory and a slip from Norris will do. Piastri the outsider, can gamble without restraint. Every tyre call, every pit window, every lap carries the weight of a season. The numbers are clear, but the outcome is anything but. Right now, the championship's fate hinges on a single race, but its roots stretch through every risk, every rebound, and every misjudgment. In modern Formula One, no lead is ever safe, and one decision can reshape an entire era. The next lap could redefine what greatness means. What do you think?